Hey everybody, Janine here from How's Your Mindset, and I'm with my co-host.
Hey everybody, I'm Kristen.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 3. We are super excited. I have been trying to record this all week and have been completely out of sorts. I don't know how many other of you guys out there. Make sure you like and comment if you've just had a crazy week like I have. How are you doing, Kristen?
I'm good. It's been a crazy, crazy week for a lot of people. The energy is just, I don't
All
know how
over.
to describe it. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's going up and down.
I feel like I'm bipolar this week because I'm just like one minute I'm fine, the other minute I'm not. It's just crazy. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're going to actually talk about, I'm going to share my health journey. And this topic is different for everybody. And you'll, as you see in the heading below, your weight, your weight loss journey is not my health journey, and that's okay. So everybody's is going to be different. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit about my journey, and then you can go ahead and feel free to interject whenever you want. We'll have this go probably better that way anyway, having a conversation. But I figured I'd start out since I just went through the most transition lately this year for 2020. And we're not talking about weight. That's the thing. I want to start off by saying, and please interject, that people, when they talk about losing weight or getting healthy, they're thinking about pounds. They're thinking about nutrition sometimes too, right?
Yeah.
They seem to go, and it's not that it's wrong. It's just that as I discovered through months and months and months of self-reflection is that it is a mental health issue, not a pounds or nutritional, because everybody knows what we're supposed to eat, right? That's pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, and it's a psychological thing. Well, I don't want to say psychological necessarily. That might not be the correct term.
Yeah,
But
it's unconscious for
it's an
sure.
unconscious
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, that is the term that I'm looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, and so before I kind of go into my story a little bit, maybe you can share some of the things that you saw during my journey from someone looking in, that may be helpful to people when they're looking to get healthy.
Yeah. So, first of all, for me, I have always been tiny, but what people don't understand is there's such a thing as they call it skinny fat.
Mm,
So, even if you are just naturally built tiny, it doesn't mean that you're healthy at all. It takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of discipline. And you need to have that right mindset as well. It's all cohesive into a whole, kind of a holistic situation that you have for your
and
life.
and for me, I was like the opposite. I was a shit brick house and drank way too much alcohol and just ate way too much food and never gained anything until I was about 35. So even though I was very athletic and I had a great genetic background, thanks to my dad mostly, I still wasn't very healthy for
It
sure.
catches up to you for sure. If I mean, for a lot of people, and for you, it went into a weight situation. For
Yeah.
other people, it could be that they're still tiny, but they're having an issue with maybe they end up getting cancer or some type of detrimental health issue.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because they didn't take care of themselves. So just because you're skinny or tiny, or if you're fit and you're eating what your body type needs and you have the mindset, your unconscious mindset, you're
Mhm.
going to be going through life a lot easier on the health side of it.
And I think for me, it affected me later in life. So I didn't really have to battle with any of those self-image issues. If anybody knows me, I'm a pretty confident person, no matter what weight I'm at. I don't really have a lot of self-image issues. I kind of accept what it is, and you either deal with it or you don't. But for me, because I was able to be so disciplined when I was younger with other aspects of my life, when it came to losing weight, I could do it very easily, count calories, go out, run, get in shape very quickly. Within 2 to 3 months, I was already in shape. But then something would happen. And then I would get a block, and then something would I would start drinking a little bit too much, or which of course this adds calories, and I wasn't exercising to keep those off anymore. So then I started gaining the weight.
Yeah, and for you, because we've been friends for a long time, and for you, thinking back, starting from the beginning of when we met and hung out, you were pretty healthy. We met through, working out together, basically.
Yeah.
And
we definitely had a love for fitness, and all those, and I still do very much. I love being outdoors and working and doing all that, wonderful stuff that's healthy for your body.
Yeah, but I think what's important is for you, and something in order to help others who are watching this, is that there is something in your mindset that was pulling you back.
Yeah.
So even though we were working out together and doing things pretty healthily, we would go on walks and hikes, you would still go back into drinking a lot, or going back to eating things that you shouldn't be eating, such as fast food. And then you would snap back because you get to a certain point where you're not happy with yourself, because your body's telling you, I don't feel good. And whatever method that was at that in each individual time.
Yeah.
And so being able to figure out, what is triggering that was important for you.
Yeah. And I'm very lucky now. That didn't hit me until much later in life. I can't imagine if I had to deal with that my whole life, which I didn't feel like it was connected. Even though I was a very sick kid, I had immunity issues. I didn't realize that was all mental issues. Remember, whatever you're feeding your brain, or whatever you're feeding, whatever thoughts, whatever experiences, whatever's happening around you, your body's going to release that from your brain, those toxins. So that's why I was always so sick all the time, and all the trauma from my childhood and all of everything. And here I thought that, just knock it off, Jeanine. You know what I mean? Just do it, get it done. You know how to do it. You know how to eat. And even sometimes I was eating very good. I mean, I've done 60-day juice fasts. I've done, things, and I knew what my body needed. And I love the way my body feels when I'm giving it the nutrition. But then, I have, developed, as I got older, chronic pain all the time, and fatigue, and things that I didn't feel like getting up. I just didn't feel good. And there were more days that I didn't feel good than days that I did feel good. And I thought, well, there's something definitely more happening. And it wasn't depression, because I was completely content being in my little world. It wasn't like I was like, oh my God, I don't want this. No, I was happy being in my little world and shutting everything out, and then not, because I'm dealing with, being tired and not feeling well. So when I started concentrating, and doing the unconscious work, it was very interesting, because there were all these layers upon layers upon layers of things that were happening in my mind. And the more work that I did, the more I would have a mental detox constantly. So then I was even sicker sometimes when I was going through it, because I was purging and fighting some of these things and trying to clear them out of my mind, of, over 40 years of doing these things and seeing these things and experiencing them, and never really dealing with them. properly and clearing them out. So I can tell everybody 100% that if you are trying to get in shape, or you're trying to not be addicted to food, or you're trying to eat better, or you're trying to just be healthier, it really starts in your unconscious mind. And you cannot do it and be successful if you do not do it through there, for
Yeah,
sure.
and it could be a whole lot of different things. You never know. For some people, it's some type of trauma that who knows what it could be. Some people, it could just be maybe you were tiny and for whatever reason you got a lot of attention, and then you associated that somehow
Yeah,
with, if I'm fit and have a great body and look
yeah,
really good, then all these guys are going to want me, or all these girls are going to want me.
yeah,
And you start to maybe feel bad about yourself because of that. You start to feel, maybe if you're in a relationship, you're going to start to feel like you shouldn't be that way
yeah,
because you should be primarily with this one person. So it could
exactly.
be, instead of, I look good and feel good, and it's great because I'm with this person and this person's helping me to feel good and, as well, with certain things,
Yeah,
we have to create our own happiness, of course. I'm not saying that other person should make you happy at all.
yeah. But
Um,
people can definitely influence the way you're reflecting, because
exactly.
that was part of my big problem when I was discovering a lot of that is, I did a lot of modeling when I was younger. I was very attractive. And I was very smart, and I've been very successful through my life. And I didn't want people to be looking at the way I looked on the outside as a reflection of who I was. So that started that stress about that, because I didn't like the way people reacted to me. It was a negative thing, which is absurd, because, why would you? It's not that you shouldn't care. It just, why should that dictate? And people use that, especially in the fields that I've been in. They use their vanity, part of them, as a marketing tool. I work with a lot of beautiful people, and to me, it was a negative thing in my brain. Not anymore, but it was. So it's like, I don't want to get to that point, because I don't want to lose control when people are acting that way around me, instead of turning around to something as a positive and saying, well, they must feel very comfortable, you know what I mean? Unless they're doing something harassing, which typically, didn't really happen very much. But so that is a very interesting thing that you bring up, because I wonder how many girls out there who were fit when they were younger, or had that when you were younger, and then all of a sudden they just didn't like that energy that they were attracting, because it can be very demeaning at times when people are doing that. Because for me, I was like, no, stop. You have no right to, make me feel that way or talk about me like that. I'm a smart person. And I think that comes from when we're little a lot, where, women were treated as more of an object, or a trophy wife, or whatever, instead of just being comfortable with who you are and not worrying about how other people are going to react to you. Um, you just don't allow them to make you feel that way. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Be in a relationship where somebody could be jealous because you're getting attention,
Yeah.
and that triggers certain things. It could be really anything that can easily trigger it. It could be because you're an object, or, you know,
Well, females have a big problem with this. So that was the other thing. You have a very similar situation, where we got along with men a lot more than we got along with women when we were younger, because we just weren't very, I'm sorry to use this word, but petty about things. We weren't, spilling the tea, and we weren't gossiping, and we weren't putting women down. And so we gravitated towards the opposite sex a little bit more with friendships, because we just weren't very tolerable of that. But that's still no excuse, you know what I mean, to do things for yourself, to do to yourself, or feel a certain way just because people are insecure, about the way they are. And I think all of us as women want really good female friends, especially when we get older. We really crave having those relationships. So you miss that when you have all these women that don't want to be around you because they think you're going to steal their boyfriend, which is absolutely absurd. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole other
Uh,
situation.
you know?
But,
but that can definitely lead to the trauma. And it did a little bit for me. And I didn't realize how it interpreted itself. You know, I'm very blessed. I do have wonderful women friends. So it's not that I don't. I've had some since I was in 7th grade. So hopefully some of them will be watching that and you know who you are and I love you. And we've been friends for over a decade. So it's not that I wasn't able to, I just had to change the way or appreciate how they saw things as well and kind of adapt. And I didn't realize when I did that, the trauma I was causing to myself on how they were reflecting that on me, right? You've got the men reflecting it, you've got females reflecting it, you've got family reflecting it, and they're all telling you something. And you're like, well, there's nothing wrong with me. So eventually you're going to change because you can only take so much. It's almost like when people have said, if people were saying it enough times, it has to be true, right? That kind of thing, which is total bullshit. We know that. But but after a while, you feel like, well, I must be the issue. I have to change the way I look or the way I'm doing something because of other people, which is not sometimes is necessary, but a lot of times it's not. And in my case, it was a negative kind of reflection that I was getting from people because of their insecurities and because of not being able to deal with things.
yeah, and it could be other things as well, as such as people making fun of the way you're eating, people
Yeah.
making fun of, the way that you are working out,
Yeah.
or saying things like, oh, it must be nice to be able to eat that way. It must be nice to be able to afford that. It
Yeah.
must be nice to be able to have the luxury and the time to go out and take a walk. Eventually, if people are saying these things, it starts getting into your unconscious mind if you are accepting it.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of work depending on how old you are, or not even how old, but how much trauma you've been through, how much work you need to do for yourself in terms of finding who you are and what values are important to you, not to anybody else. Because I've got to tell you, even though I had a pretty traumatic childhood, I didn't have a whole lot of issues with myself. I recognized that they were a lot of other people's issues and not mine. And I still was, had problems with reflection. So I can't imagine if I wasn't as strong as I am, what could have really happened to me, the damage even worse than what was already. And people say that you can tell how someone's living or going through by what they look like on the outside. And that is completely true. Because when I am happy and I'm focused, I'm doing what I'm doing, my skin looks great. I lose 20 pounds and I don't even have to think about it. And that was the other part of the unconscious work is you shouldn't have to think about it. It should just happen. Because when you start focusing on weight, that is not what the issue is. Mm-hmm. Because you never put it on. I never put it on when I was younger. So how did that happen except for being, working out, being active, right?
Well, and you could have still gained weight because maybe you're just in some type of new zone. So maybe it's not necessarily an unconscious thing that you have to work through. Mm-hmm. But the thing is when you've done the work and you've gone through the unconscious work, now whenever maybe you start to gain 5 pounds, you immediately be like, oh, what is going on with my life?
Yeah.
And what have I been doing? Okay, I've been a little bit stressed out, or maybe this month's bills were a little bit higher. So I ended up purchasing more pasta for this month and was making a lot more pasta dishes instead of having actual vegetables or something like that. You know,
Sure.
maybe just out of, who knows, everybody's different, right? We all have our times when we're a little bit more busier. So it could be something like that. However, you're able to snap yourself back in to
Yeah.
what you're supposed to be doing, and you're say, okay, I'm done with pasta or whatever that situation was.
And
And
for me, it was a
go on.
meditation, incorporating a lot of that mental meditation and asking for help. No matter what you believe in, whether it's God, whether it's Buddha, whatever what brings you comfort, that is what meditation is all about. That digesting and not having to let it go, to let it free, to not worry about that and release those toxins. And that's why they're incorporating it in schools now. I mean, children, they're seeing that children are having very little behavior issues because they're able to digest stress in a positive way. And we didn't have that so much when we were younger. Now it's starting to become a little bit more acceptable, but everybody thought that was weird. You know what I mean? Where you could just, I mean, we prayed, right? Which is a form of meditation, but it wasn't like it is now where your mental, you know, everything's just so trendy. You know, they don't really talk about the mental benefits of meditation and sitting there and just letting things go
Right. And for
properly.
me, what I like to describe it as is praying is usually asking, meditating is actually getting, receiving the
Yeah.
answers.
Yes.
So it's like having that relationship you need to be able to listen and be able to communicate at the same time. And so if, you know, whatever higher being you believe in, you're wanting to be able to be open to asking and to receive it.
Or even if it's just the universe. I mean, if it's just, maybe you're scientific, or we're scientific and it's just the universe that you're asking. We're made out of star matter. That's a fact. So you can ask for nature. You can ask for the universe. You can ask for whatever the molecules are to just help you absorb out some of whatever's happening. And that's helped me tremendously. I actually would, if, which I should have a long time ago, I actually would do it all day long if I could. And there are places where you go where they do it all day long, that people are, you know, have cancer or they're having issues or they've just had a divorce or whatever. Actually, they showed a small little part of it in Eat, Pray, Love. And they have them all over the world where you can go and all you do is meditate. You just meditate and figure out what the best thing is. And I think that that's the best thing for people, especially like someone like me, that's had, you know, chronic pain their whole life, having to deal with that. My problem, unfortunately, is that I have an intolerance for most foods and an intolerance for what's in the air and around me. So I get sick just because I'm awake. Like I get hives, I get, you know, my body is under attack all the time, my cells. And what I was able to do through meditation is connect with those cells. So it doesn't mean that my pain goes away, because I think it's very important for people to experience certain levels of pain, whether it's mental or physical, because you have to digest things, right? That's
Well,
part of
here's
your
the thing,
digestion
they're
process.
polar opposites. You can't be happy for and accept something that's really good unless you've experienced something bad. If you've
Yeah,
never experienced pain, you don't know how great it is to be living in a state where there's no pain.
very
So
well said.
it's
Very
great
well said.
to
Yeah.
feel these things. Plus, it's your body telling you something is wrong.
Well, now I know it. That's what it is. So now I know when something's weird and I'm down for a few days or down for a week, like I was this week, and I have a high level of pain or something going on. It's because I'm digesting whatever's happening around me. And I have to go through that, which means I'm experiencing more pain than I ever have in my life, which you're like, well, Jeanine, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do all that work just to have more pain? Because I wasn't dealing with that. I was stuffing it down, right? It's going to be more painful coming out, you know?
Well, because you're stacking it on top of each other.
Exactly. And the more I don't do that, the longer it was. Like this week, I had exceptionally a long time digesting it because I must have been stacking stuff and I must have not been digesting it right away. Because I've noticed before, like I'm getting a hive just talking about it. You know, it's like I'm starting to my skin looks like it's getting all
like
red.
there.
Yeah, so it's like there's still more that is coming out from it, which is very interesting because I thought I really listened to my body very well. And until I went through the unconscious work with which both Kristen and I did, by the way, pretty, I mean, in depth, like you would not believe. I didn't even tip the iceberg. I mean, I had no idea what I intuitively some of it, but I had no idea what kind of work that could be done in my brain alone in my unconscious and stuff like that. I don't know about you, what your experience is with it. Maybe you can share a little bit, but how has it affected? Have you had health? Have you noticed your health differently now that you've gone through it? Because you didn't have as many issues as I did when it came to that stuff.
But when I was in my 20s, I started eating organic food when it was starting to come out and it was really expensive. And I started slowly incrementing that. I started slowly bringing in different types of skincare solutions that was organic, all natural, literally no chemicals in them. Started bringing in products into the household that for cleaning.
Yeah.
All this stuff just to start working. I had asthma. I ended up getting asthma as an adult. I had, eczema and psoriasis and inflammation. And yeah, I mean, I was actually sick all the time too, now thinking about it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, it forced you to create Family Naturals, right? As a result, because you had so many issues. Like myself, out of necessity, you had to just start finding alternatives because you were sensitive, or you just didn't want it around because you saw what it could do when you got older. You know, like cancer.
Yeah. Exactly, and I didn't want to deal with that stuff. And I've known people who are very, very young who've had cancer and who have died from cancer. People my age are already gone.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy to me. And I didn't want that life for me. And so, I mean, it took a lot of research. I researched a lot about this, and found ways to go around it, and found ways, with, Jeanine and my experience of working with this unconscious work, diving deeper into it. And now I can start to feel like I'm getting sick. And I've always received supplements, different types of supplements to help with the immune system. And now I can take those for 2 days. By the third day, I'm completely fine.
Yeah.
And that's even with a lack of sleep, with, not to say anybody.
You mean the little one that's popped her head out there?
Yeah, that was supposed to be sleeping.
That angel.
She refused to sleep by herself today, and so I had to wrap her up. And now she's like, "That was a nice little nap, Mom."
Yeah, Kaylee will be with us for a little while for sure, until she can have her own quiet time, which we don't know when that will be, and that's okay. She can be our guest co-host for a little while.
As a mom, we do our best, and
that's right.
Mom shaming or anything for those out there. We all do what we can.
That's right. And Family Naturals is our sponsor. Did you want to chat about anything fun that's going on about them? We might as well lead into that before we end.
Since we've been talking about health, I wanted to show this amazing product that even you, Jeanine, are on.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Don't know if this is backwards or not. I apologize.
No. I can see it perfectly. Yeah.
So ASEA has a couple of different products And what it is, it's cell rejuvenation. And we love it. My husband hurt himself last year skiing
Yeah.
and tore his ACL, sprained his LCL, and sprained his MCL, I believe. All three.
It was really bad. I mean, he couldn't walk or anything.
Yeah, so he was on the couch for a while, which was not very fun for anybody, of course. Poor guy.
Definitely shifts the dynamic of the family for sure.
Yes. And I was recently pregnant and had the morning sickness going on, so it was not very easy for anybody. But we got through it. This product actually helped him. Within 3 months of taking it, he was walking about 6 miles a day.
And he needed surgery, from what I remember. Before you were introduced to this, is that he needed to actually have surgery, and it was like $10,000 or something ridiculous amount of money for this.
Very expensive out of pocket. And we're like, well, I mean, we believe in getting second opinions and all that, and trying to see if there's other ways around it. So we're like, well, let's try it. Luckily, with an ACL tear, some people go for years without getting a surgery.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, he was up for it. He wanted to try it.
If you don't get the surgery, you can have issues with it, mending, not mending properly. It's the problem, because it's not, the muscles are not rejuvenating or regenerating.
With the ACL, it does not, it doesn't heal properly because blood flow doesn't get to it. So luckily he ended up not needing surgery. This product has been helping. I have stretch marks from this one, and those have been gone. Teeth issues that have been bothering me for years, that's almost gone.
That's good.
All kinds of stuff. Acne has been gone. People with eye issues, has been helping them with that. So I'll leave the link down below.
Yeah, definitely leave the information.
Yeah, reach out to me for any questions or testimonials, or because a lot of people,
especially if you need surgery. Definitely before you have surgery, this product is worth a try.
Yeah, or even after surgery. People are taking it after surgery, and it's been healing them after surgery a lot faster, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, people will reach out to me and ask, hey, has it ever helped anybody with this? So feel free to reach out and I can find out, or I might already know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, any of the products, I leave the website anyway directly. You can see all the Family Natural products that are on there. I have had personal experiences with ASEA for over a year now. So actually, it'll be a year in February, because I thought that I had gotten COVID last February, and I was in bed for 8 days, and I don't know I never have felt anything like that in my life. And I started taking it shortly after that. And I have a compromised immunity system as it is, my son and I have not had any like real sick issues since I've been taking it, which is amazing for me, because that's, I'm sick all the time, typically. So I was happy to have to deal with that.
Yeah, and like I said, I research high and low on anything that I put in or on my body or my family's bodies. So this stuff is pretty good. I really enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to end for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And remember to spread a little love, a little kindness, and a little late today. And if you have any questions about anything, especially unconscious work, please, if you are having mental health issues or you're trying to, get healthier, let us know and we'll be more than happy to help you. And thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, thank you.